Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. Please do. We give you the questions you want to ask, as a matter of fact, here every morning with a look at the Wall Street, see what's going on with your money, with the help from Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services, who is on the phone right now. Philip, good morning. How's life this morning?
Hey, good morning, Dave. Doing well as we close out this first full week, this last full week, I guess you'd say, of this month. And then before you know it, we are in September. And it's going to be interesting to see where we end up. And we didn't have a Fed meeting this month, so interest rates stayed the same. However, you and I talking before we went on the air, interest rates are definitely going to be a big subject of discussion later this month or next month.
Yeah, later on this morning, as a matter of fact, because our new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, is the keynote speaker at the Jackson Hole, Wyoming retreat, where all the big heads in finance show up and talk about what they think should happen, and real decisions are made behind closed doors, even though nobody admits they actually do. They've already had 3 Fed governors get up and say, we think rates need to go up, and everybody knows Kevin Warsh was appointed by a president who has been campaigning for rates to go down. He's actually turned pretty sane since he got on there. I mean, everybody was afraid that he was going to be a mouthpiece for President Trump, and he really hasn't necessarily been so far. But nevertheless, his bias toward looser money is generally a pretty good chance. His next meeting with the Open Market Committee, by the way, is the 15th and 16th of September. So that means they're going to miss the next PCE inflation number. You and I were thinking that it was going to be the 4th week. The PCE comes out at the end of the 3rd week generally, so we're going to be kind of flying blind, and what we've got right now doesn't look like an inflation picture that Mr. Warsh is going to be very happy to try to defend, does it?
It doesn't, and I was looking to see how many voting members there were, and it's unusual. There's 12 members, and I would think you'd have an odd number, so there would never be a tie vote, but evidently there's not. And so we've got, it looks like 12 members of the committee. And, I'm not sure where that vote's going to end up. And what happens if it's 6-6? How do they break the tie?
I got to assume the chair provides the tie-breaking vote. I mean, if it's a 6-6 tie, how the chairman votes, I would assume, and that's, again, an assumption, and we all know what happens when you assume. But
Well, and I included him in the 12, so maybe he doesn't normally vote unless there's a tie.
That's possible. That could be it. But nevertheless, he's got an interesting row to hoe, and this might be one of those rare Jackson Hole speeches from the Fed chair, might actually move the market. Yesterday, it was party time after NVIDIA beat it out of the park on their report the night before. Dow was up 106, S&P 500 was up almost 0.75%, up 55. NASDAQ was the party time, as you'd expect, up 1.57%, up 411. And the Russell 2000 got into the party, too. They were up by about 0.25% without the impact of a lot of the big tech stocks in the Russell 2000. It was a party time driven by NVIDIA, who now is worth $5.5 trillion in market cap.
Man.
That's mind-boggling. I was
and you look at this. And you look at this, Dave, and I was looking at things like Walmart and a couple of the retailers yesterday, and they were taking a bath yesterday. So you had some big retailers heading into the red yesterday, continuing. And so this is really driven a lot by technology.
Yeah, I was looking at my list of mega caps, and I don't have a lot of them on the mega cap listing, but I know Walmart dropped by over 1.5%. Amazon was also down by 1.5%. They're kind of a hybrid between tech and retailer, so it was not a broad-based rally overall. It was very much tech-driven yesterday, wasn't it?
It was, and let's just say who the biggest winner was yesterday, as far as I can tell, was Salesforce. Salesforce yesterday up 22.5%.
Holy crud, that even dwarfs NVIDIA going up by 17%. It was amazing. It
Yeah,
was,
and CrowdStrike was up 20%.
if you can do it with artificial intelligence, yesterday was a good day for
Good
your
day.
stock, methinks.
Yep, it was a good day.
We were giggling before we went on the air. Jensen Huang, the chairman of NVIDIA, told reporters that NVIDIA is building an ecosystem that can't fail. And my initial reaction was, old Jensen wasn't around during 2000. Last time people figured the world had changed permanently, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you never say that. No, there's
Oh,
always something that can cause you to fail.
oh yeah. Even Jeff Bezos has said, hey, face it, eventually Amazon is going to be bankrupt. Now, he knows that the trends change, and he can't always predict where they are, no matter how big and how profitable and how good Amazon is. He knows eventually the business model that's favored by the consumer is going to move on somewhere, and I don't think Jensen has really been thinking that far in advance, has he?
No, I don't think so.
I suspect not. Suspect not. Other tidbits we got out this morning. Let's see, Middle East is a little bit more, at least optimistic for the moment. Iran and Oman say they're moving closer to a deal where they can jointly administer the Strait of Hormuz, which might get rid of the ransom that Iran has been charging people to go through there. Unfortunately, that
PayPal.
has, yep,
PayPal.
PayPal. They
It's
fell
getting
apart.
They fell apart, man. I tell you, there was an expectation, or there was talk about two companies, Advent and Stripe, which are two kind of payment companies, were going to buy or try to buy leverage buyout of PayPal, and they've decided now not to pursue it, which is probably a smart deal. When you start talking leverage buyouts, you really got to have some big profit coming from somewhere to cover the leverage. And so that's got PayPal shrinking this morning, down 14%.
Ooh, that's one of the things that causes ulcers in boardrooms, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of painful for them.
Ooh, talk about painful. Mortgage, even with the feds, even with the federal government's attempt to try to push interest rates down, mortgage rates are still stuck around 6.7%. So, for all the effort the federal government's done trying with their bond buyback routine, hasn't helped one tiny little bit, has it?
No, no, it hasn't. I mean, I was looking at interest rates this morning as far as the 10-year and 30-year Treasury. 30-year Treasury is back up 5.2. The 10 years at 4.69 right now.
And it's been trending upward all night long. It's up another 12 basis points just from what I've got here. So, they're going to have to do an awful lot more bond buying to make that happen. We are at the butt end of earnings season, but we got a household name or two to talk about. How did the Gap do last quarter, anyway?
Hey, the Gap, they had a good quarter. They've got a couple things happening. Let's just say first they beat on earnings. They came at 52 cents a share, beat by 4 cents. However, the big thing for them right now is they made an announcement that they have a new head of Old Navy. I guess he's going to be the president of Old Navy. Michael Francis is going to take over November 2nd. And that's really the big thing that's got Gap, I think, moving ahead. It's up almost 19% this morning.
Cool. And they're one of the stores that's been kind of sandwiched positioning-wise for a little while, and I know they've had a couple of rough quarters, so it's good to see them finding a turnaround, even if it's just optimism, right?
Well, yeah, and they kind of fill both gaps, right? You got the Gap store, which is upper trendy retail, and you got Old Navy, which is cost conscious, flair and that type of stuff, with kind of the lower price points.
The home of the generic hoodie.
Yeah, there you go.
That pretty much is the way my kids always responded to it.
The only
Other
other
indications?
the only other earning I have is Marvel Technology, and they came out and they beat on earnings by 3 cents a share, came in at $1.10. And so they're talking about their margins changing, and so they're trading down about 7.5 this morning.
Ooh, yep. It's got to be high tech before it runs, and sometime even the high tech Even the high-tech firms don't do it. You know, we're talking about things like NVIDIA skyrocketing, driving the whole market up and whatnot. You give advice to help people preserve their retirement funds and make sure that they're got a plan they can actually count on when they retire. What kind of advice can you share with us this morning on that
Well,
topic?
today I want to talk about some flags, red flags, right? Red flags on today, Freedom Friday. We'll talk about things like, the number one red flag is pressure. Somebody says, hey, this rate's only good today. A real plan is never a now or never decision. Red flag number two, one solution for everybody. If the answer is the same annuity or the same fund, no matter who walks in the door, that's a sales script, not advice. And red flag number three, they won't explain how they get paid. If you ask, how do you make money on this? And you get that fuzzy answer or deer in the headlight look, that's your answer. And so that's something you want to make sure that you are cognizant of when you are shopping around and looking for a financial advisor. I know that a lot of times I sit down with folks off and on, and they come in and they say, hey, look, I've got this annuity. It had this great bonus. Well, the deal was that poor big bonus they got also had a 15-year surrender charge. So they were stuck for 15 years in that product. So here's the deal. Good advice can wait a week or two. Good advice welcomes a second opinion. And good advice tells you exactly how it gets paid. Anything that fails those three tests, slow down. Take a step back and take a pause and make sure that you are getting the right advice.
It's kind of interesting. I know guys that'll drive 10 miles to save a penny on a gallon of gas, but they don't check the price on their financial advice.
Exactly. Good point.
Resetting, and I've been guilty of that myself. Resetting the table. Great day on Wall Street yesterday, and all four major indexes, largely on the success of NVIDIA, dragging a bunch of allied stocks up. 45 minutes before we open this morning, what are we looking at?
It's kind of a mixed bucket right now, Dave. The Dow is up about 0.2%. The S&P 500 is up 0.1%. However, the NASDAQ 100 is trading down a little over 0.1% right now. The Russell 2000 is even. If we look at the other side, silver is getting a huge jump this morning, Dave, up 1.75%. Gold's actually trading down about 0.25%. Crude oil is down about 1.1%, $82.56 a barrel. Dave, I'd really like it to be below 80 by Monday. You think you can make that happen?
Not unless you believe in the Easter Bunny. The news I'm hearing doesn't really sound like that's in the cards, but I sure would love to see it. Across the ponds, I got a mixed bag in the Asian rim. The mainland Chinese markets were off by a bit this morning. The Japanese markets were up by about 0.5%, so it was kind of a mixed bag across the marketplace over there. Europe, generally relatively optimistic. I think they like that deal of Hollande getting involved in negotiating the Strait. Average European index is up by about 0.5% halfway through their trading day. Getting a hold of you in order to get a beat on my financial future and my retirement plans, I got to use your eyes. How do I find you to get a look at my plans?
Then give us a call at 382-0037. Love to spend 30 minutes with them, make sure that they are on the right path to the retirement they always dreamed of. And then catch the Statler Financial Radio Show this weekend, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And I understand you're going to tell your partners to pound sand and join us on Monday morning as well here on Light.
Yes, sir. I'll be there because that's the only day I'm going to be there next week.
Well, I guess they're going to have to put up with me. Have a good day and a great weekend, my friend. And go Knowles! You're a 31.5% favorite over 31.5 point favorite over New Mexico State tomorrow.
Well, hey, we got to take one game anyway. Hopefully.
Well, I'm going to be optimistic. I'll be optimistic. Catch you Monday. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Philip Statler.
The market goes up.
Hey, folks, glad you're with us this week. Hope you'll join us next week. Have a great weekend. Until then, bye now.